Majority Whip.
Madam President, last week I came down to the floor to discuss the agricultural economy. And while the broader economy is thriving, our nation's farmers and ranchers are struggling. A combination of low commodity prices, protracted trade disputes, natural disasters, weather-related issues have meant a tough few years for farmers. Nationwide, net farm income is about half of what it was in 2013. One of the biggest things that we can do in Washington to help our nation's farmers and ranchers is to negotiate favorable trade deals that expand existing and open new foreign markets for American agricultural products. That's why I've been pushing for a speedy conclusion to the various trade agreements that our country is currently negotiating. I strongly support the efforts the administration has been making to secure more favorable export markets for American products. We've made real progress, Madam President, in negotiations, and now we need to wrap up the various agreements we're discussing as soon as possible so that we can give farmers and ranchers certainty about what international markets are going to look like. Of course, there is one agreement that's already been wrapped up, the United States-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement. This is a hugely important agreement that will boost almost every sector of the American economy, from automotive manufacturing to digital services to dairy farming. It will create 176,000 new jobs and increase wages for workers. Passing this agreement is a big priority for the ag industry. Mexico and Canada are huge importers of American agricultural products, and the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement will preserve and expand American farmers' access to these key markets. More than 950 food and agricultural companies and groups sent a letter to Congress urging its passage. In my home state of South Dakota, Mexico and Canada are the #1 and #2 customers for our agricultural exports. Maintaining and expanding South Dakota farmers' access to these markets is critical. I'm particularly pleased with the improvements the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement makes for U.S. dairy producers. Dairy is an important and rapidly growing industry in South Dakota. If you drive the I-29 corridor north of Brookings, you can see firsthand the massive dairy expansion that we've experienced in South Dakota over the past few years. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement will preserve U.S. dairy farmers' role as a key dairy supplier to Mexico, and it will substantially expand market access in Canada where U.S. dairy sales have been restricted. The U.S. International Trade Commission estimates the agreement will boost U.S. dairy exports by more than $277 million. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement also makes targeted improvements for U.S. poultry, egg, and wheat producers. Wheat is another important South Dakota product, and I look forward to the boost this agreement will give South Dakota wheat growers. Madam President, as I said earlier, one of the most important things that we can do to help the struggling agricultural economy is to negotiate favorable trade agreements for U.S. producers and to open new markets for American agricultural products. The U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement is ready to go, and Republicans in Congress are ready to pass it. Now Speaker Pelosi needs to indicate her willingness to take up this agreement in the near future. This agreement will provide certainty for American producers and expand market access for a vast array of American goods and services. It is a win for our economy and a win for American workers. We should pass this agreement as soon as possible.